always tell when a streak's going to come to an end. You win a couple of games, you probably shouldn't.
There are teams out there that could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Rev Media in partnership with TSN. It is season 7 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. The Tim's NHL Hockey Challenge is back, stronger than ever. You can find it in the Tim Hortons.
You can always tell when a streak's going to come to an end. You win a couple of games, you probably shouldn't.
There are teams out there that could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Rev Media in partnership with TSN. It is season 7 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. NHL Hockey Challenge is back, stronger than ever. You can find it in the Tim Hortons app. Chances to win daily and monthly prizes for picking players who you think will score. Plus, there's a chance to win a new Hyundai Tucson as part of our season-ending grand prize. Hey, Canadians, you can also try and keep a 7-day streak alive. And if you do, you win free coffee or tea for a week. Check it all out in the Tim Hortons app, timhortons.ca, for a full list of prizes. Hey, Raymond, where are you today? You're in Florida, I think, aren't you?
Yep, I got Minnesota, Florida today, which at one point looked like it would be a really important game. Now is a game that actually means absolutely nothing because Panthers got nowhere to go and Minnesota's not going up and they're not going down. So yeah, here today and then into Detroit tomorrow for man, the Wings are going to try and get themselves upright again. They're stumbling.
They are stumbling, and we'll talk about that coming up in headlines as the weather smartened up in Florida. I mean, last week we were there for the GM meetings, not complaining, but by March standards in Florida, it wasn't great. So is it better now? Not that you have a whole lot of time to enjoy.
I was outside this morning. I went for a little walk and kind of nice to be out in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt again. So yeah, it's decent. It's not blue sky, but it's warmer than home, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to get going here with a podcast, but it's been a tough week. As you know, you've been kind enough to check in on my family and what's going on in the hockey world. And my son Mason lost a good friend to cancer, 25-year-old Jacob Winterton. Jacob, the older brother of Ryan Winterton, who's a young forward with the Seattle Kraken. I mean, Jake fought an incredible fight, Ray. We saw him on Monday, and you could tell that he was ready for the pain to stop. So now he rests. But the reason I bring it up, and it's been publicized on all social media, hockey culture is so often attacked. And very often there's a reason for those attacks and the attention that we pay on that side, the dark side of the game and what goes on around the game. But in this case, hockey culture is at its best. And I do want to acknowledge Ron Francis and the Seattle Kraken for everything, Ray, that they did to help Jake in his battle. Support for Ryan, the Winterton family, and Jake's girlfriend, Julia. From top to bottom, frankly, Seattle's caring for this family went well beyond what good people do. So thank you, Ron, and thank you to the Seattle Kraken, because this journey, as difficult as it is this week, we'll lay Jacob to rest on Saturday here in Ontario. But I can't even imagine what this family would have had to endure if not, again, for the support of Ron Francis and the Seattle Kraken.
And I would add, I've known Ronnie for 40 years. And if you didn't know because of your connection to the Winterton family, nobody would know.
Nobody would
Like
know.
that's not Ron's style.
No.
Um, the Kraken, you've shared um, how invested and
Hmm.
committed they were to anything that the Wintertons needed, anything they could help with. They were there to help, and man, it's just the thought of there's just been some really tough stories in the last couple of weeks in the game, and
Yeah.
um, and there's a part of hockey that nobody likes, and I think it's the same for a lot of sports, but this is our world, and there's a part of it that we don't like and need to continue to try to change and to grow. But man, there's a part of the game that is a beautiful thing, and
Mm.
I think we've seen some examples of it this week.
Agreed. Well said. And on the ice, there's some great stories, and we're going to get to a number of those as part of our headlines here on the Ray and Dregs podcast, brought to us by the Canadian Brew House. Real fans know the move. Arrive early. Happy hour at the Canadian Brew House runs Monday to Saturday, 2 to 6 p.m., starting at $3.99. Skip the couch and hit the Canadian Brew House, your home for every puck drop, every goal, and every cheer. With ice cold drinks, massive screens, the best fans in town, this hockey season, their house is your arena. All right, Eastern Conference hockey right now, Ray, it's basically must watch, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
you've got Carolina, you've got Buffalo, you've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're duking it out for top spot in the East. The wild card races seemingly shift every single night, and they're still jockeying, I would say, divisionally in the Atlantic and the Metro. So, not to give Gary Bettman too much props or accolades, but he's right. I mean, it's an exciting time of year building towards the playoffs.
The there was a great example of what scoreboard watching is all about last night. There were only two games, right?
Yeah.
And the Rangers and the Leafs are kicking it around at the bottom of the standings, and Toronto with a win that probably hurts them more than it helps them as far as
Hmm.
draft position. But the Sabres and the Bruins is so they're in the late in the third period, the Sabres have a 3-2 lead. And so that everybody else around the Bruins that's watching is now cheering for Buffalo.
Yep.
So that's Columbus and Pittsburgh and Detroit. And you get down into the wild card, the Islanders and Ottawa, they're all cheering for Buffalo. And then, Luukkonen whiffs on one from the point, and it's in the net. It's 3-3. They go to overtime. And I'm telling you, in the MVP conversation, David Pastrnak has to be there because
Again.
anything that
Yeah.
the Bruins do, anything the Bruins do, he's in the middle of it. He
Yeah.
really is. And he sets up Zacha, who's having a great year. And so the Bruins from 0 points pick up 2 critical points
Yep.
at the bottom of in the wild card race. And so now that gives them also, it keeps them in touch with the Canadians for third in the Atlantic. And so you're looking at the wild card, but really you're looking at the divisions. And
Yeah.
this is a great example of why the divisional setup can work. I still prefer 1 to 8 because, and I also would prefer 3, 2, and 1, 3 regulation points, 2
Yeah.
overtime
Yeah.
for a win and 1 for a loss. The fact of the matter is nothing really changes in the 3-2-1 system. If you put those teams together now, for the most part, it's pretty similar. I just
Yeah.
think it's a more equitable way to put out the points. But that being said, this is the time that's fun to watch. One game
Mhm.
matters to 6 teams last night. It was awesome. It was really for 2 games, it was really an exciting night to watch.
It really was. What do you make of the Columbus Blue Jackets? Look, we know Dean Evison. He's a friend of yours. He's a
Yep,
good man.
yep.
He's a good coach, but it's also undeniable what Rick Bowness has done for the Jackets. It can't all be about coaching. That's ridiculous. I mean, the players play the game and they have to execute and do what they're doing in Columbus. But how do you explain their rise to this point?
Well, I think a couple of things stand out for me. One is um, early in the year, they kicked away about 7 or 8 leads in the third period. And one thing that Bowness has been able to do is to tighten them
Yeah.
defensively. Maybe a little bit of a shift here, but that also goes along with, since Bowness took over, one of the best goalies in the league is Jet Greaves. He's got a 915 save
Really
percentage.
good.
He's got 12 wins. And
Yeah.
so every good coach will tell you, if I got a guy standing back there stopping the puck, I'm probably in pretty good shape. So those are a couple of things. The third is, uh, without a doubt, at the very least, Zach Werenski's in the Norris finalist. Like, he's one of the 3 finalists, like, without
Yeah.
a doubt. I would probably vote him. I would probably vote him the winner right now. I think he's had an amazing year, and what he's done and what he means to the Blue Jackets is pretty incredible. And
Yeah.
then they've got a young group of forwards. Last year, I'm going to go back with this forwards thing. Dregs, last year, remember they made that late rush and they almost made it.
Yeah.
I thought they were primed to be a playoff team this year, and then they flattened out of the gate. I mentioned they lost all those points in the third period, and it felt like, they're going to take this step back. But they've got a really good group of young, big, skilled forwards. Marchenko's at the top of it. Like, this is a good team. It's a good team. And if they get into the playoffs, that place is going to be wild. That arena is loud. It's loud to begin with. What if there's a scenario where Columbus and Buffalo and Pittsburgh are all in and they're all so close together?
Oh,
Like,
boy.
that's really good stuff. That would be great stuff.
Once again, as you alluded to earlier in the podcast, the Detroit Red Wings are in a precarious spot.
Oh, boy.
They're in a dogfight for that playoff spot. I mean, it's a number of things, right? Including bad injury luck, more roster attention required. I mean, you can't do it now. I mean, you obviously can't do it now. Is it a combination of those things? When you think of where Detroit is now, there's some bad mojo around this group, and they don't have a whole lot of runway left.
No, they're one thing of the top 10 teams in the East. Detroit's 10th right now. But they're what I'm just looking here. They're 1 point behind Ottawa, who is 8th. But the only team with a negative goal differential out of those top 10 is Detroit.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of hanging on by a thread. But a month ago, they were 10 points into the playoffs. They were comfortably in. Larkin's missed 7 games. He just came back the last game against Ottawa.
Yeah.
They have such an obvious hole at center. So they have JT Compher and Andrew Kopp. To me, they're almost the same player. One's right-handed, one's left-handed. They score about the same. They're built about the same. Maybe Kopp's got a little bit more offense to him. But they signed them both to 5-year free agent contracts. To me, they need to pursue, even if it costs them one of their young prospects, they need to pursue a talented, skilled center.
Yeah.
They need somebody to create. Their most creative forward is 38 years old, and that's Patrick Kane. Him and DeBrincat work really great together. DeBrincat's a terrific player, really is. Lucas Raymond's a really good player. And if you look at Detroit, I just did the game last week, and I'm doing one this Saturday. But in 2019, they drafted Sider, number 6. In 2020, they drafted Raymond, number 4. In 2021, they drafted Edvinsson, number 6. Like, those are 3 real building blocks. None of them are centers. And you can't chase a center at a place he doesn't belong. But I know Steve Yzerman is really guarded with his picks and his prospects. But at some point, they have to attack that position, I think. And you're not just going to find one, of course, and it's going to be super duper costly, right? But I think it hurts them this year. Their 5-on-5 play is not good enough, and the illustration is the goal differential. They just don't score enough at 5-on-5, and it really hurts them.
The Ottawa Senators are doing some incredible things right now. And, again, we've talked about
Yeah.
the injury bug that clamped down on Detroit. Somewhat pales in comparison to what the Sens are dealing with on that blue line
Yeah.
and decimated by injury, right? 5 guys out. I was looking this morning as we record this here on Thursday, and I think Jake Sanderson is scheduled to be there. There were some whispers about next week. I think he's on that 4-week timeline. So if it's not next week, it'll be early the week after. But they bring in Carter Yakemchuk and Donovan thrown into the mix, and both those
Yeah.
guys, find a way to do the job and be as impactful as they can be. So I guess timing is everything, and opportunity matters to the Ottawa Senators.
I wonder if Steve Stais and Dave Poulin and Travis Green after the game in Detroit, Yakimchuk scores a goal and an assist in his first game. I wonder if they said, hell, we should have called him up a month ago. Like he walked in, he's like his goal was a beauty too. He like pulled it and showed some patience. You know what it reminded me of a little bit? Now different players and things, but my last game of my career, we lost in Detroit in Game 5 of the playoffs. I think it was 5-2, and yeah, it was. And Chris Pronger and Al McGinnis had gotten hurt for the Blues for our team, and so in his first NHL game, Barrett Jackman played. So my last game was Barrett's first. And I remember watching him. He's from the same area as I am. And, so I knew about Barrett as he was growing up. But I'm like, man, this guy is really good. And then the next year he won the Calder. Yeah. And so when I watched Yakimchuk, I'm like, he looked like he was totally comfortable in a incredibly pressure-packed game. Like Ottawa can't lose right now. Like they don't have much runway. There's only 11 games left, but they're winning with no lineup. That game in Detroit, that was back-to-back nights. The game before at home, they lost 2D, and they had guys playing 27, 28 minutes, and they had to play the next night.
Crazy.
So it's amazing what you can dig down and find. And so now they, as of this morning, they sit in the second wild card. They're tied with the Islanders. I'm just looking. They've got a game in hand, and they're back home today. And maybe they're the team that squeaks in. But there's still those teams at the bottom: Boston, Ottawa, Islanders, Pittsburgh now, Detroit, Columbus. They're like, what a slog that's going to be for the next 10 games.
The goal watch, I think, is obviously on, right? And you look at Nate MacKinnon, who leads the parade with 46 goals with Colorado, but there's Cole Caufield of the Montreal Canadiens, Ray, with 44. 12 regular season games left as we have this conversation. Yeah. It feels like both are going to hit 50, and I know that's a lot to ask. 6 goals isn't nothing for Cole Caufield, but he's capable of having a couple of 2-goal games and finding that milestone. I mean, what are your thoughts? You think they get there?
I think he's going to get it. Oh, I think they're both going to get there. I mean, this is the pace that they've scored at all year, right? That gets them to the number that they're at. The last Canadiens guy to score 50 goals was Vincent Damphousse, and that was in the 90s. So there'll be a lot of pressure in the city, as Cole gets closer to it. And, Craig Button, who of course is at TSN, he's got a great line about Caufield. He said the reason Caufield fell to 15 in the draft, his draft year, was that most of the scouts scouted with the tape measure. And they went, no, too short. Right. And then they moved along. Yeah. And so there's a thing that I think is a real factor. There's a difference between small and short. And Cole Caufield is short. And Alex DeBrincat is short. And a little bit down the chain, Connor Garland is short. They're not small. Right. There's a difference. There's guys that are 6 feet, 6'1", and they're small. They're thin and they get bumped off the puck. These guys don't. They just don't. Yeah. And it's because they're built like a fire hydrant. How many times do you see Cole Caufield get knocked over around the front of the net? Not very often. Same with
No.
DeBrincat. And so I think as these guys get scouted and, the evolution of what the game is,
Yep.
players in that build won't be overlooked as much. And
Mm.
what Cole Caufield is doing is giving a chance to other 5'8" guys that are built like him. He really is. It's like UC Saros. Every goalie that's under 6'4" should be bowing at UC Saros's feet, because they're like, well,
Absolutely.
geez, Saros would have been a first round pick if he was 6'3", but he
Yeah.
wasn't, and so he went in the 4th round. And Nashville's had a franchise goalie.
How about Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnston?
Oh boy.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're overshadowed. I mean, they're star players in the National Hockey League. The Dallas Stars is they're a really good team. But there you see Robertson and Wyatt Johnston, 5'6" on the goal scoring list. Wyatt has 40 and Robertson has 39. I want to say it feels or seems like a quiet, productive year for those two guys,
Yeah.
but that's probably doing them a disservice because we know they're good players.
So Johnston's interesting to me because, when he came into the league at 18, he lived with Joe Pavelski and his family. And remember Joe playing in the bumper position on the power play.
Yeah.
Nobody tipped pucks like Pavelski. And he would go out before practice. I remember one practice, it was a game day in Dallas, and I was talking to Jeff Reese, the goalie coach, and he's a pretty funny guy. And he's like,
Yeah.
we're giggling around there, and we hear from over at one end of the ice, there's nobody on the ice except Joe. And he's at the other end, and he's like, Reeser! And they kind of give him, he's like, oop, I gotta go. Because Reese's job was to shoot pucks, and Joe would deflect them before practice. But Joe already had the pucks dumped out at the blue line in 3 spots. So Reese had to go and shoot pucks so anyways, he basically was saying, stop bullshitting around. It's time to go to work. If you watch Johnston, he's got a lot of that in him. He's really good at tipping pucks. He finds pucks around the front of the net. I think that's what a mentor should be. And I think it's pretty clear that Johnston learned a lot watching Pavelski play and talking hockey with him and being around him so much. As for Robertson, I find him one of the most interesting players. He never looks like he's going to break a sweat.
Yeah.
But he's sneaky big. Like, he's a pretty big guy.
He's
and
big
strong.
Dude.
Yeah, he's strong though too. Like I guess he's physical when he needs to be. Like, he'll bump a guy when he needs to, but he has this way about him. He looks like he's completely unbothered by the game. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, he's got a goal and an assist again tonight. He's got a great knack for getting the puck to the net unblocked. And in today's game, that's a real skill because, it's like a quagmire getting pucks to the front of the net, like getting them to the goalie. Everybody's blocking shots, and he's really good at it. And oh, by the way, unrestricted at the end of the year. How's he going to do? Going to do fine, isn't he?
He's going to do fine. And look, I mean, from ownership down, Dallas is prepared for it. I'm not even going to take a guess at what that number is going to be. But it's not just, it's not like Jason Robertson is having an unusually good year.
Right.
His numbers are consistent. Like, that's where he parks almost.
I got a question
basis.
for you.
Yeah.
Does his number have 8 numbers in it?
Ooh, it could. It absolutely could.
I mean, like,
yeah.
Is he not looking at Adrian Kempe's deal and going, yeah, hello?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and not going, yeah, hello.
Yeah,
he's going to do very well. Yeah, keep going. Yeah. Nice start, fellas. Nice start.
I always tease Tom Ghilardi, the owner of the Dallas Stars, about Andy Scott is the agent who represents all of these guys now, right? So he just got the Robertson brothers, but he's got Ranton, he's got Thomas Harley, he's got Wyatt Johnston. I mean, I joke, he's part owner of the Dallas Stars now. He's building like an apartment building in Dallas, Scott Place or something along those lines.
It's good work if you can get it.
No kidding. Those are your headlines. Thank you to the Canadian Brew. feels like Tim Hortons has always been part of my routine, certainly as a dad, as a coach, or taking my kids to the early morning hockeys. Had to go through the drive-through and get my cup of coffee and get the Timbits for the kids. Can I get a medium coffee with milk, please? Then even driving in the studio now at TSN, if I don't go through the drive-through, get my medium coffee with milk, I feel like my routine has been interrupted.
Here's your coffee.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. Only way to start a day. Let's dip into Ask Ray and Dregs anything, all right? As always, send us your thoughts and questions. You can DM us on X or visit rayanddregs.com to submit your questions. And I haven't been doing a whole lot of social media perusing this week, but I did see a couple of questions. So I'm assuming Ryan Rashog is going to join us. Oh, there he is. Looks like he's cleaned up. He shaved for the occasion. He's ready to roll here.
He was clearly outside doing some yard work. I mean,
must be
early in the morning.
Shoveling the deck.
Yeah.
4 inches of snow. Snow,
man.
4 inches of snow the last few days. You got it in Toronto too, didn't you, Dregs? Or is it coming?
I think there's more coming. We've had enough. We've had lots, but we also had a week of rain, so it kind of washed it all. We were in that, Ray, you know this from Vancouver. We're in that gloomy stage where the sun doesn't seem
What do you
shine.
mean? What do you mean? In the winter in Vancouver? What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, but you know what? It's right around the corner, so pretty soon the golf courses will be popping and everything will be well again.
Nice. I have to say, Ray, your shot is looking really good, right? It's just
you know why?
It's mint.
You know
so
why?
Good.
Well, Ryan, not all of us get a cushy little chair to sit in at home. And I think one time this year you actually went on a trip. Oh boy. And
right,
I'm so tired. Do we have to do this? I'm tired. Can I take a nap?
We got
hold on.
Zuby.
Ray, the best yet. I don't know. Do you pay attention to the Got Your Back podcast?
Yes.
With Brownie and Struddy and all that. I find it hilarious that Ryan hasn't figured out the technology yet. When they do the post-game version of Got Your Back after Oilers games, there's just this shot of him because he's driving. He can't even spend the 40 minutes at the arena so we can all get, an on-camera shot of this. He's got to get home.
No, because
show right now?
No, he's taking a shot at you, not the show.
Yeah,
he's just like.
So we got to bring this full circle.
He got out of the
people.
house. Oh, he got out of the house for
my favorite part of this show. My favorite part of this show every week is when we jump on the chat and we try and line up Ray's shot. Whatever hotel he's in, whatever situation he's got. Like you notice tonight, there's a light right behind his head. Ray shows up with basically just the top part of his forehead showing in the frame and a giant light right behind him. And the rigmarole we got to go through to get him sorted out. It's my favorite part of the week, I would say. It's like watching Ray go through airport security.
Do you remember what I said when we were doing the shot? You've got me confused.
Yes, for someone who cares. Yes, very good. Okay. Well, you know who does care? Our lovely viewers and our lovely listeners.
Yes,
so they sent in a few questions here, heading in a couple of different directions. I always like the rule change suggestions. So here's one from Kyle Shanks. Sends this to us on Twitter. Rule change that should happen. If you are serving your own penalty in overtime and it has not expired by the end of the overtime period, you should not be allowed to shoot in the shootout. So if you take a penalty in overtime and it carries over time-wise, you are not eligible to shoot. Ray, what do you think?
Yes.
It's one of those small ones. Like it?
No, but I do because I did a game this year and Crosby and Zegras got into a little bit of something or other at the end of overtime, and they got misconducts, and you can't shoot. They both were like, wait a minute, these are the two guys that we want to shoot. And they both were going to the locker room. We're like, where the hell did they go? And so with the misconduct, you can't shoot.
Right.
But apparently if you have a tripping penalty, you can.
Yeah.
So I like it. Like You got a penalty. You can't go out on the power play. So why would you be able to shoot?
I acknowledge it's a good idea, but there's nothing about the shootout that matters to me. I mean,
except those points matter.
They matter to of course they do. It's just it turns it into a skills competition, and that's unfortunate. It shouldn't be like that.
Well, imagine that.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, I was going to say, remember when the shootout came in, it was just to get rid of the ties. And as a general manager said, I can't very well keep saying to my fans, hey, look, on Tuesday, you came to the game and nothing happened. It was a tie. Come back Thursday, maybe nothing will happen again.
Yeah.
So, which I think is a great line. But they decided that this was the way they were going to solve it. And it's what we got. I don't know that there's a better way. They're not going to extend overtime and have, the same players play more minutes. Like, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a change anywhere there.
I don't mind this rule change because if you think about it, let's say Connor McDavid's on the ice in overtime and he has to make a defensive play where he literally has to hook a guy with 3 seconds left to prevent a scoring chance, right? And he gets penalty.
Yeah.
And then scores the shootout winner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't mind that one. Dregs, put that one in your hip pocket. Take it with you to the Board of Governors, buddy, and see if you can get in the room. Put your hand up. Next one coming to us from Spencer Evans. Says, my brother and I were debating how great Dominik Hasek was and ended up making a bet. How many goals did Ray score on Hasek over his career? We tried to look it up, but couldn't find a clear answer anywhere. Do you remember overall, Ray, how you fared against him? So, and maybe we'll see if we can't, between Zuby and I dig in and get our answer for next week. But what's your recollection? How did you make out against the Dominator?
I got one for sure, maybe two that I remember. The one I got was behind the net. I always remember this because it was so goofy. I was trying to come out. I was going to wrap it. I thought I could get it to the far post in front of him. And as I wrapped it, I lost the puck and it went out front and hit the D-man's foot and went through his foot. It went through his legs. The Dominik Hasek, the first time I ever saw him was the 1989 World Championships. He was playing for the Czechs, and we all knew he was coming to Chicago. And I'd never seen a goalie drop his stick and fish around for the puck with both hands. And we're like, we're going to light this guy up. Like, who plays goal like this? And then, well, he does. Yeah. And you'd be in front of the net or scrambling around, and the puck would go to the point, and he'd be yelling in the net. You could hear him, must see.
See.
And so, no, he'd say must see. And everybody would be shoving us out of the way so he could see it. Like he was so good reading the play. And that made him able to make these unorthodox saves.
Yeah.
I mean, he did things in there that like nobody would even try to replicate, right? He was, if you think there's Waugh, Brodeur, Hasek, like they were the very, very best, like the very best of
legendary.
Like they were, you're right. They were legendary goaltenders.
Yeah.
They really were.
So I don't know what year it was, Ray. You might remember this. You remember it was a playoff run or whatever in Buffalo, and they were giving out Hasek hot sauce. Like bottles of it. And
I don't remember that.
This is a number of years ago, one of my many moves here, but I had it in a box in my office. And I was like, I like hot sauce. So I collected like about 8 bottles of Hasek hot sauce. And I maybe used one of them and it was borderline garbage. But I didn't throw them away. And then when I went to move, there's like 7 bottles of Hasek hot sauce. So anyway, sorry, Dom, but it went to the dump.
All right, Dregs, you were plugging my show earlier. This one comes from what I would assume would be a listener to our show here in Edmonton. This is David in Edmonton. Says, hello, gentlemen. Big fan of your show. Yeah, we have one. It's one of 4. Not in my family. I listen every chance I get on my traffic-filled commute home. I was listening to Jason Strudwick talk the other day about how much he hates the phone call to apologize from an opponent who commits a dirty play and hurts someone. obviously referring to the Gudis hit and subsequent call with Matthews. Ray, did you ever experience anything like this? And how do you guys feel about those calls? Keep up the great work. Don't ease up on Schauger. His Tim's Challenge performance this year has been rough, to say the least. That to us from David in Edmonton.
To my knowledge, nobody called anybody when, first of all, we didn't have phones. You would have to call the guy at home. And so,
never thought about
can I get
that.
his home number? But nobody was calling anybody like that. When I think a call is appropriate is when there is a play with clearly an accident happens, and you get the guy's number and you go, hey man, like when somebody like there's a skate cut or something like that, I would want to check and know if the guy's okay. But if you're AJ Greer and you shove Connor Zary into the boards, like what are you calling him for?
Yeah, that's a tough one to apologize for.
You made, and like I don't think guys try to hurt somebody, but when you make a play like that, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm sorry, I was stupid. Like that's the call.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what else you could say. And so I don't know. It's a different time and maybe that's acceptable, or maybe it's not acceptable. Maybe it's expected now.
Maybe.
And I'm not a particular fan of it.
Dregs?
I mean, it happens so regularly now. And I think to Ray's point, whether it's expected or not, I think it's also convenient. I mean, because you have the phone access, the text messaging, whatnot. Maybe it's not always a phone call. You just flip a guy a text, sorry, man, I didn't mean to do that. But I think it's very situational too. Like we all heard from Radko Gudas. And genuinely, he seemed not only disappointed, but upset with himself that the play was executed the way that it was executed. I got time for that. That's ownership, Now maybe everybody moves on, but I think, we do everything on our phones now. Everything on our phones. So I'm not surprised it happens on almost a weekly basis.
And I suppose, Ray, you don't have to take the call. And you certainly don't have to be nice on the call when you take it, right? So just because a guy's reaching out doesn't mean it's going to be all good,
Well, again, I'll go back to I never thought of it that way, but I'll go back to the most recent one. Like if Greer flipped a text or called Connor Zary, why would you respond?
Yeah.
No.
Like why would, maybe, no, I can't even, of course, I hope Greer felt bad. He almost, that could have been a catastrophic play. Like that's not even an exaggeration. Yeah. It's not hyperbole. No. That could have been a catastrophe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what are you going to say? Oh yeah, no problem. Thanks for the call. Beat it.
I think if you're feeling about the play in a way that you need to apologize, I think it's way more meaningful to go stand in front of the media and say, sorry, that wasn't a great one. I'd like to apologize to him and eat it publicly. Radko Gudas the other day, it was a good media availability. He was pretty honest about it. But I think if it's a bad one and you feel the need to call a guy, stand there and eat it publicly. That'll send as big a signal to him, and then give it a month or two and then reach out. When you've done the right thing, you've taken your medicine, then reach out and go, hey man, whatever. To me, that would be, would make more sense and show a little bit more of that. Anyways, there it is. That's to us from David in Edmonton. That's Ask Ray and Dregs Anything. We appreciate everybody's contributions. And you don't have to wait till we ask. Anybody listening to this show, if you got any questions, fire them our way. We collect them through the week. So send them over anytime.
Excellent. Thanks, Rish.
Thanks, Ryan. Go get your shovel.
Okay. Ray, you need to move just a touch left. You're just a little too far to the left of your...
Hey, Ryan, what was really awesome was the way you mixed up the two shades of gray today. Way to put it together. That was really...
Zuby, just take me off camera. Take me off camera, Zuby. See you guys.
Speaking of Zuby, Chris Sabunia is going to check in here.
Oh,
And
look at you.
we've
Can't
gotta
get to this fast
update
enough.
Tim's hockey challenge. Yes, I went 3 for 3, but there's a nice little bookend to today's edition of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, right? So, we started off acknowledging the Seattle Kraken and the sad passing of Jacob Winterton, right? So on Tuesday, I had stepped away. Ryan hosted the podcast with you guys, but I still felt like, okay, I'll get back in that chair on Thursday. So I had to participate in the Tim Hortons Hockey Challenge. So I go to play in the Tim Hortons app. In the first bucket, right at the top, is Cole Perfetti of the Winnipeg Jets. Now, instantly, I'm like, well, that's a strange spot, with all due respect, for Cole to be in, that first bucket. He's always a second or a third bucket guy. Again, all due respect.
Right.
However, in this case, again, Cole Perfetti grew up in Whitby, Ontario, played on the same team as Jacob Winterton, Mason Dreger, and a ton of these kids as 01s and an 02. Cole's an 02. So I was just, all right, there's a sign. Bloop. So I took Cole Perfetti in the first bucket. He scored. Matthew Nyes in the second bucket. Okay, not a stretch. He was due. He scored. And then I'm looking in the third bucket, and I'm like, Jake Evans, he'll gut one out. He'll get a greasy empty netter. That's what's going to happen here. And that's exactly what happened, to go 3 for 3 Tuesday night.
That's very Zuby-ish. That's
Zuby.
Oh my goodness!
It
Today
kinda
I
is.
have to decide between Drew O'Connor and Jordan Spence. My two third bucket.
Tough
guys.
one.
That is a tough
Zuby,
one.
I gotta say, I had, as I picked Drew O'Connor, I went Zuby would pick Drew O'Connor here, and I need some third bucket magic here. I got to get this is a crushing 3 for 3 from Dregs.
Yeah. Now, Ray,
How did you do on Tuesday, Ray?
I was going to say
I
a little
don't
bit of
think it was
intrigue here.
acknowledged.
We don't actually have Ray's number from Tuesday, so we got to update the standings here live.
If there was a number to give you, do you think I would have already had it to you?
Well, if there was a number greater than 1, probably you would.
Wow.
No, if there was a number greater than 0,
Oh no.
I would have. Yes.
Okay, Zoom.
2 for 3.
Get those numbers out. What's
so that's
going
a real
on?
2
game
for 3
changer.
over here.
So Dregs 3 gets him to
Reach
39
Ooh, reach
for
2.
111.
Wow.
Race hanging tight there at 32, so that's extended now to a 7-point lead here for Dregs. And Schauger got 2 up to 24. He's within 8 of Ray.
This is big.
I don't know if he's got enough runway yet, but as long as one of these races gets interesting.
Yes. Yeah. But, well, I think I got to say it felt like Dregs lapped the field there the other day. That was it's a disappointing result.
Crushing.
That's a death blow for sure. That was an
I feel like
absolute-
we should put something on the line. I feel like we should. There should be like some sort of, I don't know, 20 push-ups on camera that we put on the show here. Or I feel like we should have some
Okay.
sort of stakes involved here.
Well, you've
yeah, we
already
should,
lost by
but
a
what do you
landslide.
mean? So we're going to have them now? I mean, you're in last place. Of course you want something.
Well,
Or
what
do
if
you
I
want
can catch you,
something-
Ray?
You want something
What if I can catch
starting
you?
now? A sub
Yes, of
challenge
course he
for the
does.
remaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he does.
I still
I'm
owe
coming
Ray,
for
I
you.
think,
Behind.
from like 5 years ago. I think I owe you dinner from like 5 years ago.
You do
doing the
owe me
Tim's
dinner.
Hockey Challenge. Yeah.
So good luck
That would be
collecting.
the first time I picked up the tab.
We can come up
All right,
with some,
Zuby. What else?
some
What
sub
else?
challenge. We'll work it out off camera. We'll come up with a sub challenge for the remainder of the season. But we're not going to let this one go because Dregs has earned
No.
it. It's all but in the bag now. But we'll see.
Beautiful. Thanks, Zuby. All right, there's your Tim's Hockey Challenge. So I'm looking forward to Tuesday when we can revisit. Don't forget to put in your submissions today, Ray. Make sure you're in. Are you already in? You're good to
I'm
go.
already in.
Okay, me too.
I
Yeah.
feel really lukewarm on my selections. That's
Me
what I feel
too.
right now.
Yeah.
You never know, but
No.
I need
Okay,
a big. I need a big one.
You're in Florida for the
Florida
Wild
and Detroit.
and
Yeah, and then back home on Sunday. Yeah, a bit of busy week. So, Dregs, passing all the best thoughts we can to the Wintertons and to Mason. And you mentioned the Memorial is Saturday, and I'm sure that's going to be a tough day. But I hope the Wintertons are surrounded by their great friends and those that support them.
Agreed.
Rest,
yes.
rest
Thank you,
easy,
Ray.
Ron. Yeah. Take care.
You bet. All right. It's been a tough week, no question about that. But we'll forge forward. We'll get through the weekend. We'll be ready for the Ray and Dregs Hockey podcast next week. Until then, thank you to Tim Hortons, our title sponsor. Thank you to the Canadian Brew House for bringing us headlines twice per week. And thanks to you who watch and listen. Until next time, stay safe, everybody.